Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. Wake up to a nice hot cup of coffee. Go Steelers, they're on a roll. They can still finish over 500 this year. The only way they'll finish at 500 is if they tie one of the last few games they have. But hey, let's not get into the Steelers right now. Let's get into the Book of James. The Book of James? The letter of James? The sermon of James? Yeah, it's more of a sermon. And wait a minute, James, what James are you talking about? Some anonymous James? Because the name James is the Greek for the Hebrew Jacob. Yeah. So, um, exactly who are we talking about? One of those two apostles who were named James? Or is it James, the brother of Jesus? Aha, that's it right there. That's what tradition has this letter being written by, but we just don't really know. But it's good enough for me. It was Jesus' brother. I don't know what Martin Luther had against this letter. He wanted to cut it right out of the Bible. Come on, Marty, you can't do that, man. I think there is an emphasis in there on showing good works to justify the fact that you have faith, right? Well, I know Luther was all against Rome and fighting their insistence on putting money in the till as you come and look at all these different icons and this, that, and the other. Oh, but he missed out on the absolute richness of this letter. So keep that in mind. But also keep in mind that this sermon, so to speak, this letter speaks toward staying away from being stained by the world, being caught up in all the stuff of the world that all you're worried about is making money. And the more money you make, the more money you want, the more you neglect your neighbors in need. See, there's an awful lot of that going on. It's one of the main themes that runs throughout this whole letter. So keep that in mind, especially when you get to what we have for today. Because in the verses in chapter 5, oh, by the way, it's James chapter 5, verses 7 through 10. But in those first 6 verses of this chapter, man, James comes down heavy on rich people. Basically, he's saying, are you ready? They're going to go to hell. Yeah, that's the way we would put it nowadays. He says they're going to get it. You know, there's this tension throughout the book of James between Jesus, who has come and was walking amongst us, it is now gone, and his coming again. So we're living in that stage, that whole milieu of, yes, the end times are here, but they're not quite yet. But we have to reach out and grab them and hold on in faith. Yeah, there's all that going on. And you know what? All the rich people who neglect the needy and the poor, they're going to get theirs. So that comes just before there's a little bit of a diatribe against them. And listen to these verses then, that he's writing to Jesus' followers who are experiencing some tough times, evidently. Be patient, therefore, beloved, until the coming of the Lord. The farmer waits for the precious crop from the earth, being patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. It's not going to come right away. Got to be patient. You also must be patient. Strengthen your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is near. Beloved, do not grumble against one another, so that you may not be judged. See, the judge, he's standing at the doors. As an example of suffering and patience, beloved, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. A wonderful little passage. It's a good one for Advent because it's talking about the nearness of Jesus coming. He's standing right at the doors. We have been living for 2,000 years in that in-between time. We just don't know when this final consummation of God's kingdom is going to be here. But We have to be prepared. And we're prepared, as we're going to see in other places in this letter to James, by simply living out that law of love. Love one another. Love one another. So, a good little thing for us to keep in mind, because, especially during this Advent season when we're going absolutely bonkers and crazy, getting ready for Christmas, and here we are coming up on the third Sunday in Advent. I don't have my Christmas decorations out yet, or the tree's not up. Hey, I do have out front my nativity set up. So, does that count? You bet it counts, because that's what Christmas is all about. So at least I have that there going for me. But you know what? We get so caught up in all the busyness and the stuff that's part of the holiday season now that we forget, hey, what it's all about is the fact that Jesus is coming. Yeah, he has come, and we're going to celebrate that with his birth in Bethlehem. But he's coming, folks. Be ready. Be patient. It's going to happen. But in the meantime, love one another. I encourage you to read the entire book of James. It's not that long. It's a quick read, but it's a beautiful one. And it's one that hopefully will inspire you this Advent season. Well, I'm going to sit here with my Steeler mug and take another big swig. Because it's time for all of us to wake up to the reality that God loves you and me and this world. God's blessings be with you.